Hi. On today's episode of Me, You, and Who, we are speaking with Angela and Tristan. Tristan was 15 years old when Angela did her first journey, and Angela went on to grow two amazing families. On this episode, we're going to be talking to Tristan about the lasting impact that Angela's journey had with her and the bond that they share, not only as mother and daughter, but now as two amazing women who have gone on to grow families because Tristan is currently in her first journey as a surrogate. This was a really fun episode, and I am so looking forward to you guys listening to it. So please enjoy Angela and Tristan. Me, you, and who? Who knew it would take more than two people to have a baby? In a world where infertility is no longer a taboo topic, this podcast will take you through all the different aspects of surrogacy and egg donation through the lens of many who walk this journey in different ways. My name is Whitney Hall, and I am a two-time surrogate, now turned surrogacy coordinator for Egg Donor and Surrogate Solutions, the very agency I used when I chose to carry for two amazing families. With this podcast, it is our goal to help guide and support you as you learn about what it takes to grow a family in an alternative way, as well as hear inspiring and beautiful stories of how this path has changed lives forever. We can't wait for you to hear about just one more way happy families are created every day.
Hi. How are you guys?
Good.
Yeah?
Good.
Oh my goodness. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to do this, especially like it's your day off and it's your vacation.
Yeah. Not a big deal.
Not a big deal. Well, thank you. I so appreciate it. I have all my little notes here, but how are you feeling?
Good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, how many weeks are you now?
On Friday will be 22. Yeah.
Okay, so the
So-
big halfway point.
Yeah.
Here, I
We'll
got
have I don't know. I'm pretty boring pregnant, so I don't have the only time I really show is after I've eaten. That's when I feel like I'm like, oh, now you can finally see my belly. But other than that, it's just there. So.
Oh my gosh. Well, I think boring is the preference of every coordinator. So yeah.
Absolutely. A boring pregnancy is a good pregnancy.
Exactly. I think it's so funny. I feel like anytime I text any of my, GCs or any client, I'm like, how's it going? They're like, it's fine. I wish I had more to tell you. And I'm like, no, I'm glad you don't. That's great. This is really great.
Yeah, that's how it is with my IM. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I don't,
I have
and then,
nothing to tell you.
yeah, and she's like, that's fine. No update's a good update.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. Have you had any cravings?
just Taco Bell, honestly.
Yeah, girl. Yeah, girl.
That's it. But no, like maybe some banana shaved ice, but nothing too heavy.
Nothing major.
Yeah.
I feel like every single one of my pregnancies, like keepers and my GC, like my journeys, every single person had a specific like thing that I was craving.
Oh, wow.
It was pure
It
madness.
was funny. At one point in my first trimester, I don't eat sauerkraut
Okay.
at all. But I really wanted a Reuben, and that's all I wanted. And I was like, this is so odd because I don't eat that. I texted my IM, and I was like, do you guys eat this? And she was like, oh, yeah, I devour it. Like, can eat it out of the can. And I was like, that is so odd.
Oh my
but
gosh.
went and got a Reuben and fulfilled my craving. And I was like,
And all is well that
Yeah.
ends well. Oh my gosh. I love it. I love it so much. Well, again, thank you guys for being here. I super appreciate it. Okay, Angela. So we're talking to mom and daughter, which is so sweet and so wonderful. When did you, Angela, first hear about surrogacy?
Well, the thought was put in my head when I was 19, right after I had Tristan.
Okay.
Robert's aunt had mentioned she had had her first, really wanted to have another baby, and couldn't because of cardiology issues. And so she said, you should carry a baby for me. And I was like, whatever, lady. I had no idea.
Because people just come up and say things like that.
So never even thought about it for a long time. And then when my youngest was 12, one of my neighbors was a surrogate. And so I listened to her story and all the things, and I was like, oh my gosh, I could do that. Oh, that's the coolest thing. Oh, wow, you have that kind of relationship? I was like, that's pretty neat. And so that's when I just kind of dug into it a little bit more and decided, this is something we as a family could do.
What kind of research, what year was that?
That was, Logan was 12.
Mm-hmm.
So
2011.
yeah.
1999 minus 1.
Good job, daughter. Yeah. Okay. So 2011. So what kind of research did you do? Did you go down the Google rabbit hole that I tell everyone not to do?
I did not. So I just learned a whole bunch from my neighbor.
Sure.
She was starting her second journey,
Mm-hmm.
and she was using a different agency at that time. So I did a lot of, searching on their website.
Yeah.
And just kind of went through all of that, and then of course listened to them, and I joined their Facebook page and all of the things. So.
Yeah.
And then I just started doing all the Facebook pages, trying to get as much as I could from that.
Sure. Absolutely. What did you think, Tristan, when your mom was like, hey, by the way, I'm going to do this? Like, what did that conversation even look like?
Well, that would put me, 2011 would put me right at a sophomore in high school.
Okay.
So, it really wasn't like anything taboo for me. I was just, the biggest thing was, is this going to have any relationship towards me? Because if that's the case, then I think that would be weird. Especially as just having that distance relationship and not being able to physically see something that is related to me. But then I finding out like, the route that she would go would be that there would be absolutely no relationship to her genetically. It would just be more of a,
Extreme babysitting
in the oven thing. Yeah. And so I didn't really care. But at that time too, I'm a sophomore in high school. I'm trying to figure out my life.
Sure.
So I was like,
Whatever.
You do what you need to do, Mom. I'm going to continue to do what I want to do. And
So that's really, we all just had a huge conversation and understood what it was going to look like and what it really meant. Got all of our questions answered, and then I think that was it.
And that was
We
the
were just
end
like,
of it.
okay, the biggest thing was breaking it to my friends, and our house was the house that everybody came over to. There was no question about that, and so all the people coming over, they were like, your mom's pregnant and you're a sophomore in high school.
why are you going to have another baby in the family? And I'm like, no, it's not ours. And then they would just get to asking
her questions.
Oh, sure.
Mom, why are you doing this? And what does this do for you? And so that was the biggest thing. But everybody was just so welcoming and thought it was the coolest thing that they never heard of it. So that's
pretty cool, but
Yeah.
to each their own.
Sure. Well, yeah. So you're in high school. So like you yourself as a student, it sounds like your friends were really great. Did you ever have any issues explaining it? Did you ever get tired explaining it? Like, was there any of that?
No, I think a lot of it was just I wanted people to understand.
Sure.
Because a lot of it was, so your dad's letting your mom do stuff with other men.
Oh, for the love.
Wait a second. No. That is not how that works out. And so it was just a lot of, listen, those petri dishes we play with in science class?
Sure, sure.
Literally, they do their own mixing in their petri dishes and then get a little turkey baster and put it inside my mom, and that's how that works.
We're having like biology class.
Yeah, that was the
lunchtime.
easiest way to explain it to sophomores.
Sure, a
and,
bunch of 15-year-olds.
yeah, especially a bunch of boys who are like, wait a second.
Oh my gosh, that is too funny.
So that's how I would explain it. And I'm like, look, let me just dumb this down for you so that you understand that.
We're making this as basic as basic
there's
can be.
nothing, no questions asked after this conversation.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. What were those conversations like for you, Angela, just as far as like, all these teenagers in your house, and then so you were 15, your youngest was 12, your middle was 13,
almost 14.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, it was like a lot of the soccer girls and their boyfriends, they would all come over.
Sure.
And so they would all gather around the table and, we would have ordered pizza or whatever. And they're sitting there and they just have a million questions. So I just open and honest, right?
Yeah.
I just went and answered all their questions and all the things. And I would get a lot of, well, do you think this is weird? Do you know, what are you going to do after? You know, things like that.
Yeah.
And tell us about the dad, because the first was I carried twins for a single dad. So they wanted to know about his story. So just sharing and being open and honest and, you know, sharing what I could, obviously, right?
Sure.
So that parents also didn't kind of feel weird about the whole thing. But I mean, it was good conversations.
Yeah.
And the girls were always super excited and wanting to know more. And then, of course, by the time they left, they're like, we're so sorry. We had so many questions. I'm like, it's okay. I'd rather you ask me than assume something that's not, you know, a fact.
Sure. Sure.
So they were good conversations. And I'm sure Tristan probably got bored, like, okay, guys, come on.
Yeah. My mom was a topic of conversation.
You were like, excuse me.
Yeah. Especially, like, she was not ugly growing up, so she was always a topic of conversation. Here she is, you know. I'm like, guys. Eventually, I was like, why don't we just go play soccer?
Yeah, let's go play outside.
You know, we don't have to stay inside and eat all day long.
Oh, my gosh. That is too funny. So, I mean, it was obviously a huge just source of conversation, and it's a big part of your life. How did at any point in time were you like, I'm interested in that, or were you very much just like, oh, whatever, this is just what my mom's doing?
Originally, I was like, you know, that's really cool, and I think it's a great thing to do for other people. But do I really want to? I mean, do I even want my own kids?
Yeah.
Am I more like married to the aspect of making money and enjoying my life? And do I even really want to get married?
Yeah.
So I kind of went through those phases throughout college where I was, you know, happy playing my sports and hanging out with my friends and having Friday and Saturday nights to myself. And then, you know, it gets to that point where you're like, gosh, I'm a senior in college, I graduate. Like, what comes next in this realm of life? And I met my husband in college. We got married, ended up getting pregnant, you know, within 3 months of trying. And so the biggest thing was pregnancy was easy. I was like, oh, this is nice. I can do it.
Yeah.
Scheduled C-section, so I don't even know what, you know, a natural birth feels like. So I was like, this is easy. If I know it's going to be a repeat C-section, I don't necessarily have to worry about what the future looks like. But I know that the one thing was always said as far as, you know, making sure that you have to finish your family first.
Sure.
So I think it was always there in the back of my mind. It was just a matter of how bad do I really want to do
Yeah.
this? Am I willing to give up my body, my family, my time for 9 months and then some, especially those who choose to nurse for intended parents.
Sure.
And so they were big decisions, but at the same time, it was, you know, I've already done this twice. I've been pregnant the past 3 years.
So it's nothing different, you know, for my husband, or 4 years almost. It's nothing
Different for my husband. He's just like, you're an easy pregnant woman. This is what you want to do. I'll support you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I can't really say that it was absolutely not an option for me.
Sure.
Kind of see what life
brings at that point.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and you had seen, so correct me if I'm wrong, Angela, you did 3 journeys total.
Right. Well, I did 5.
You did 5.
3
Yes,
successful.
3
so
successful
2
journeys.
were
Okay.
ended in miscarriage.
Okay. Okay. And so, well, gosh, especially, yeah, I know those did not go well. And then have subsequently had some, you know, health problems from one of those journeys. Was that ever a deterrent for you, Tristan?
No, but I knew I wanted to go into healthcare. So
Okay,
I knew what the body did. I understood
that it was a possibility. I have personally, thankfully, never experienced a miscarriage that I know of. And so I can't really speak to how I would take it. And I think one of the hardest things is baby going to stick? How am I going to feel after if baby doesn't stick? And that was one thing that I didn't really worry about until after transfer. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This is a lot of weight on my shoulders. I can't imagine how my IPs feel when they're like, you know, sitting on the other side of the world waiting for a positive result. And so I don't think it really ever crossed my mind until after transfer. And then I was like, gosh, you know, this is bigger than what I could wrap my mind around and thinking about a miscarriage. And
Sure.
so,
even after seeing everything firsthand
Yeah.
with your mom
Yeah.
and, all of that. Yeah.
And I even, firsthand got her text messages after hers happened. She's like, what do you think this is? And what do you think I need to do? And, so.
Oh, sure, because you were a nurse you are a nurse now, but at that time you had already begun your nursing career.
Yeah. And so I was like, I already knew what it could look like, but
You never really know how it's going to take a toll on you emotionally.
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay, so what was the conversation like for your family, like for your little boys? What's that been like?
Well, my oldest is 3. And my youngest
so
is
it was
2.
not a 15-year-old,
No.
a bunch of 15-year-olds having pizza.
No, and it's so funny because I've got 2 boys and this baby is a girl.
Uh-huh.
And so my oldest will say, Mommy, there's a baby in your belly. And I'm like, yeah, bud. And he's like, but I don't have a sister. And I'm like, no, buddy, it's not ours. So I don't really necessarily know if he grasps it completely.
Sure.
But I mean, he knows that baby is not coming home with us.
Yeah.
He's very adamant in saying it's a girl, but it's not my sister.
Uh-huh.
So it's been easy. I mean, and I think too, because I'm not showing so early, she's just kind of hiding. It's been a little bit easier.
Yeah.
But
you haven't gotten stuck in some interesting conversations.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
I don't know if I could do it if they were any older because
you don't want 15-year-olds
Not wanting to play soccer in your kitchen.
And not 2 boys at that, Like, my brothers were so uninterested. They were just like, cool, Mom.
Whatever.
It is what it is. And they're
Moving
friends,
on.
yeah. But my kids are
so involved. I mean, they're just every little thing my 3-year-old has a question about. So
Yeah.
there's no telling if he was even 7 or 8, what that conversation
would look like.
Mine got me in some pretty fun conversations, I can tell you that.
Yeah, so there's no telling. I couldn't even imagine what my 2-year-old would say. That little man, he's a different story. So.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's too funny. Angela, how did you feel whenever Tristan was like, okay, Mom, I'm going to do this?
Well, I always had a feeling she was going to. You know, just kind of watching and observing how things went. And I had delivered my last Surro babe when they were dating. So her husband was part of that too.
Oh, cool.
So he got to experience a little bit of that. So I kind of knew it was coming. I just didn't know when.
Yeah.
And so she had called me one day and she goes, by the way, just so you know, I went ahead and applied to your agency. And I was like,
oh, okay,
wait,
ma'am.
I went online and I'm like, I'm not seeing your application here. And she's like, well, I just did it, and so then she tells me, I'm like, okay, no, I don't think that's the right website.
Oh,
she's like,
no.
I filled out the wrong website. So then she went back on and did it. And so once she shared with me, I mean, I was pretty excited. It was like, here it is. The time is right. And she's going to go through with this. So, but I did ask several times, like, are you sure you're done with your own family? But they had said many times, like, we're done.
Yeah.
If we're going to have another baby, it's going to be through adoption. So.
Okay.
So it's pretty exciting. And then, just to kind of journey alongside her, I don't butt in or constantly ask, how are things going? I kind of wait for her to share just so that she can experience her own journey and not compare. Definitely want her to feel like it's her own, not like Mom is just kind of watching over her and judging all the things, So when she shares things, or like, what do you think of this? Or this is a conversation I had with my intended mom. I'm like, oh, wow, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Or, so I don't ask a whole lot of questions. Maybe I should ask more, but.
No.
No, you're doing good, Mom.
Because, half the time, I also have my coordinator who asks, and I'm like, great, things are fine. I was like, haven't heard from you. Just want to make sure you're doing okay. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, things are great. I can't
complain.
Yeah.
So I think if I had 100 people, asking me, I'd be like, look, guys, I will share when there is something
to share. I just don't have anything, but
Yeah.
So
No, that's great. That's really, really great. You're still in contact? I know you're still in contact with your intended parents. Did you ever have any sort of relationship with your mom's intended parents?
So, gosh, it was so long ago. I don't remember too much of, I could point him out in a picture,
Sure.
tell you what he looks like.
Sure.
Could not for the life of me remember conversations that I had with him.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know that his mom was very involved, still is very involved in everything. And I get to see the pictures of the kids, and they're what, 10, 11? Yeah. So just from when they were like, I remember the picture of the Amber took of them in the baskets, and
It was like special delivery, like 2 twin boys. And then compared to what they look like now, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's just crazy.
that was just 10 years ago.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And so the second intended parents, great relationship. I actually got to I wasn't sure if I wanted to go the healthcare route or maybe go the lawyer route. So I got to kind of trial and error and work for his law firm, which was
That's
cool.
really cool.
Yeah, and so I did that throughout college and
with them for a semester.
lived with them, got to kind of hang out with their daughters. So that was cool. And then as I trained, at that point in time, I was transferring colleges from Arkansas back to Texas. And so by the time we were back in Texas, I was able to just commute from my university to his law firm.
Yeah.
And then that was good. But yeah. And then unfortunately, I never got to meet the husband and wife who she miscarried for.
For great things. Got to stalk their Facebook pages, see all their photos. Got to see, cute little updates of their own
kids that they had already previously had. But no, I never got to meet them.
Yeah. Was there anything that you saw or experienced or saw your mom experience that maybe was like swayed you as far as when you were looking at intended parent profiles and just thinking about your own journey?
My biggest
thing was I just did not want and none of her relationships were like that, but I did not want to be a business transaction. I wanted, my thoughts and to be able to, just because I have had babies before, I know how my body works. I wanted to be able to have a say in a little bit of stuff that goes on.
Yeah.
And so I just didn't want to be a business transaction where we only talked, anatomy scan, delivery, and then never got to hear from them again. That was the biggest thing for me. And then that we agreed on, special things. As far as what the agency asks for, but there's nothing that really deterred me other than having that relationship and being able to talk to them about the journey, and there not being any animosity as far as the intended mother goes. I don't know what it would be like if I could not personally carry, and I don't know how it is in her shoes.
Yeah.
And so being able to take a step back and say, I don't understand what it's like to be you, but know that I'm trying and I'm doing this for you and I want you to experience this, but we have to do it together. We have to be a team, get to understand each other, know each other, get all those ins and outs worked out. And then I think that in the end, we'll have a great relationship. And sure enough, I mean, things are great. We don't talk every day, but when we do, it's a good conversation.
Yeah.
Then when we see each other, her husband and my husband get along great. They're both really
nerdy, so they just sit there and they talk all their gadgets and tech and all that stuff. And so I'm like, you know what?
That's great.
This works.
Guys. You go on.
Yeah, her and I will go baby shopping, and we'll let you guys do what you need to do.
There we go.
It works out really well.
Oh my goodness. All right, Angela, cover your ears because I'm gonna ask this question. At any point in time, did you were like, okay, look, my mom is basically like an expert. She's done this 1,000 times. Now she's a coordinator. Did you ever think about doing your own just independent journey?
Oh gosh, no.
No, I have heard way too much just from other people's experiences and then my mom's experiences. No.
That contract, like my IM reads it to a T and I read it to a T. That is, what we're going off of.
And nobody wants to be run over in this situation. And it's very, very, very important for me specifically just to make sure that we have all of our ducks in a row.
Sure.
Especially because there are a lot that go into my intended parents are first-time parents. They would have no idea how to go about obtaining birthrights when they live in a completely different state.
Yeah.
And so they, there's just no way.
There'd be way too many questions.
Sure. Sure.
And then I wouldn't even know what to ask, essentially.
Actually, way too many questions that I wouldn't even know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Even with a resident expert.
Yeah.
But still, I would veto that.
That's one thing I would put my foot down on.
You've got to be protected. I mean, even when it came time to looking at her contract, I did go through her contract.
Yeah.
And make sure that, everything was there that I would agree to or make sure that she's comfortable with,
Sure.
This is what this says, and this is what it means. And that was before she went through it with her attorney. And I'm like, are you comfortable with this? Because if not, let's try to word it with some things that you would be comfortable so you can counteract with that. So that was probably the only place where I really stepped in to say, let me help you here.
Yeah. I remember that's where my attorney was like, oh my gosh, this is the most highlighted that I've ever seen a contract. And I'm like, well.
I have a friend. Her name is Mom.
I was like, I just know what it's like. Also, you sign a disclosure in the medical field and that's it. You give all rights away.
Yeah, no, I cannot have that let that happen to me, because if I sign something and I'm second guessing and it's already signed, it would be, take a month or two just to get it amended. And I was like, let's just do this right the first time.
Yeah, for sure.
And that way neither party has any concerns going forward.
Well, and like you said, that is one of the biggest reasons why a lot of people will have an agency, so that you can have, someone that is guiding you. Lucky for you, you have mom and coordinator. But for anybody, just your regular gestational carrier out there, it is great to have that second person that's kind of like, well, wait, why don't you ask this question, or or that kind of thing. No, that's fantastic. What did Robert, your husband, dad, think about his sweet baby daughter doing this after seeing his wife go through everything? And
I think he's pretty proud.
Yeah.
Because he's always been so proud of what we've done as a family. And just loves it. And it's one of the things that, like his proudest moments that he talks about his wife, things like that. So I think he's pretty excited to see her kind of step in and follow the same steps and do that for somebody else as well.
Yeah.
We're just a giving family and help in any way that we can. And so just kind of neat to see. So
Yeah, for sure. Way
he's
neat to
pretty
see.
happy.
Way
Of
neat
course,
to
he
see.
would prefer another grandchild.
We're just gonna get that in there. We're just gonna get that
husband about
right in
that
there.
one. Yeah.
Just want to let that be known. What?
Yeah.
What are you, Tristan, looking forward to the most about delivery day, and what are you looking forward to the most about her delivery day?
Mom. I think for me personally, mom got approved to be in the C-section room.
Oh, fantastic.
So I'm hoping that I get to see her reaction. All she wants is to be a mother, and all she's ever wanted was a girl.
Yeah.
So being able to give her both of those, I'm just so excited. I really am, genuinely. I think that she's just going to, it's going to be one of those where I'm
Be like, can I see her just for 5 minutes? I'll give her right back, I promise.
I promise.
Yeah. She's just not going to want to give her up rightfully. So, yeah. So I'm excited to see how she reacts. And then, of course, the IF he's just there. He's excited. But
you would never know as much as she is. And so it'll be exciting to see how they all come together.
Yeah.
As a family of 3, and then they'll be there for a couple days after delivery. So
Sure.
it'll be nice to see them kind of connect before they go home, and
Yeah.
get in their own routine, and
it'll be nice.
What does closure look like for your family, like for your boys?
Well, I don't know if I really
have even thought about them meeting her, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We talked to my intended parents about that just yet. I'm just kind of, because it's their first baby, I'm kind of letting them roll the way things go after delivery.
Absolutely.
And I just don't want to be the one who's like, well, wait a second. Even though I held her for 9 months, I just really want to
see her one time. I just, I want them to be comfortable and let them to be ready to
They're
say,
going to take
hey,
the lead on that. Yeah.
would you like to see her, kind of thing. But I think I'd show the boys pictures before, especially because they're both so handsy.
So fresh. My kids are gross. They're both boys. So, they'll play in the dirt and then go touch the little baby. I'm like, no.
We don't need all that.
Yeah. So I don't know
if they'll end up meeting her before she goes back home. But hopefully there'll be a time in the future where we're together and see each other. It seems like it could go down that road. So I think that would be really nice.
That would be.
Bring it all together. I don't know if there'll be necessarily closure just because we have built such a great relationship. That
Absolutely.
Will, never really end per se.
Oh, I love that. No, I really, really love that.
Yeah.
What about you, Mom? What are you looking forward to?
Just to hear how our experience went and who cried first.
Who cried first? That's always
cried. Because I'm sure when she sees, Mom's going to cry, and the face that she's going to make is just going to be like, wow. And so I think when Tristan sees that experience, she's probably going to just lose it. So just waiting to hear kind of how that unfolds and how it goes. And then how the days after kind of look.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be, kind of a neat experience. Then, of course, if the boys get to meet her or see her, things like that would be kind of a cool experience, too.
Yeah,
so I will say, for our family with the twins, they actually came to our home and we barbecued before they ever went home. So
how
my mom
fun.
was there, and our whole family was there, so everybody got to hold them and, pass them around. Of course, we did pictures with them when they were 2 weeks old, things like that.
Yeah.
So everybody got to really kind of be involved.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be interesting to see if that same thing kind of plays out for them or not.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you remember that barbecue, Tristan?
I don't. No, I don't.
That's hilarious.
I couldn't even tell you. No. I'm just like, wow, that's news to me.
Oh, my gosh. That's too funny.
Yeah, they were in town 3 weeks after birth. So
Yeah, I do remember them being there for a while because his mom stayed for a while too, and they were even there for a good time before delivery.
Yeah.
So I do remember that, but having a huge barbecue after.
Her countless nights up pumping. Yeah, I remember those.
There you go.
For every journey at that,
So I do remember that, but not the barbecue.
Don't remember the barbecue.
Do you remember the other delivery stories? Was there anything from your mom's where you were like, that's something I want? Or is this just this is your own?
Yeah, I think they all differ.
In a lot of aspects. Her first journey, he was across the world and he was there as much as he could be. And
Sure.
So that was just different from a local journey. And of course, the local journey was a sibling journey, and both of those differed, even though it was for the same couple. And mine differs in a lot of ways, but in a lot of ways they're the same too. So I don't know. It'll be exciting to see how all of it folds out. We're only halfway through.
Yeah.
So I want to get to that point, and then after baby,
and then I think it'll kind of all connect, and I'll be able to see, how things differ and what differs and what I would have changed and what I would say to the next person who carries for them. As unfortunately I won't be able to, but
Yeah.
It'll be good to reflect.
Yeah.
It'll be good to reflect. So what would you, maybe this is an unfair question because you haven't been able to reflect yet, but at this point in time, what would you say to any potential
woman that's thinking about being a carrier?
I would say just do your research and make sure that you're all in. There are some aspects to this that I expected and some that I didn't. And so make sure that you're ready for whatever could really come.
Yeah.
You realize, I have a travel restriction at some point, rightfully so, because of the laws that are made in every state.
Sure.
But you don't realize how fast that comes. And then you're like, wait a second, I can't go anywhere, and we've got to stay within this radius, but we really wanted to do something for this holiday. And so
sure.
Like, oh gosh.
Yeah. It affects all aspects of your life.
Yeah. And then just making sure
that you also find the right couple. Don't jump into it because someone chooses you and because you look at what's being presented on the screen. if you don't feel like it's the right couple, I would not make the choice. That's just coming from me personally. Something feels off, or it was great at first, and then you get to contracts and you can't agree on something, especially if it's something that really means something to you. It's best to say, well, let me take a break, let me rethink this, let me see what I can do, because you potentially got at least 18 to 24 months if you plan on nursing for these people to be in your life. And of course, the 9 months it takes to grow the baby.
That's a long time. When you have somebody else who's like, hey, how are you doing? So yeah, do your research. Be available. I had a very pressing job. So there were days where I had to go. I was working at the hospital and I needed labs drawn. And I had to go downstairs to our lab in the hospital to have these drawn because I, didn't have the ability to just leave work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to understand kind of what each cycle means, whether you're going to do a medical cycle or a Medicaid cycle, what you're really getting yourself into, because it is a lot. Yeah. And it takes the right person.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. What about you, Angela?
Like she said, a lot of research. You have to do a lot of research, and just finding that couple that you get butterflies in your stomach, like you're dating for the first time and you're just like, oh my gosh, something about these people are just pulling me in.
Yeah.
Those are the ones you really want to help, right? Because you're just like, oh my gosh, whatever their story is, or whatever it is that's pulling on your heartstrings. So definitely just finding the right couple. I don't think there's anything that I really would have changed in any of my journeys. I'm still very close with my first intended parents, and then the ones that I did the sibling journey for. Second child is getting ready to have a birthday on the 18th, and so we're texting, sending gifts already.
Sure.
So just finding that right match and making sure it's what you want.
Yeah.
If you want a relationship, then you need to find somebody who also wants a relationship, if that's what's important to you.
Yeah.
So, of course, the other things, making sure, your termination agreements, things like that. The agency's going to protect you there. They're going to make sure they match you with somebody who's like-minded. In most cases, that's what they'll do. So it's just a matter of just finding the right match and kind of going with the flow. And I know sometimes we as women have it set in our mind that we're going to do things our way, and it doesn't work that way. You have to be very open-minded.
Yeah.
And so I think just being open-minded and also thinking about the other party. It's not just about us, right? We are kind of the center of attention, and but I think just making that mindset of it's not all about you. What are they going through, and just really understanding what is their side of the story, and what can we do to make this journey as equally good or better for them as what we're experiencing ourselves.
Sure. Absolutely. Okay, so I have two more questions. What has been your favorite thing about sharing this connection between you two, both getting to be obviously mom and daughter, but now you're Surro-Sisters?
I think each of us just knowing the experience, right? And to say, number one, that we did this.
Yeah.
Because there's not a whole lot of people that are surrogates in the first place that can, be approved to be a surrogate. And so just to be able to be approved to be a surrogate, and then to think we've both been able to have our own journeys and experience similar but different things. It's just, I don't know, it's kind of a cool experience to kind of watch it unfold in her, because while you're going through it, you don't see it kind of the same way, right?
Sure.
You see it differently, and so to watch her kind of go through it, it's a cool experience.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you?
I would have to say just there's no bigger advocate than your mom. And then, and then on top of that, just all of the information that she knows and that, she has gone through personally. It's easy to shoot a text message and say, is this normal? Sure. What do I need to be looking out for? And while, I have a coordinator who is great and can answer all those questions, there's no doubt about that.
There's just something about your mom. Especially when it comes to personal questions, you're like, is this how other pregnancies went? Because I showed very early with both of mine, and
Sure.
I'm already halfway through, and I'm like, Mom, I don't know if she's
Where
growing
is she?
yet. And then we go to the anatomy scan, and she's 2 weeks early is what she's measuring to be. And so I'm like, oh, she's just hiding, no worries. We're good there. But
having her know kind of what to expect and what questions are going to be answered and how she would handle the situation is just, it's nice to kind of have a bigger advocate on your side and say,
well, this is how I did it, but I'm going to give you my advice. You either take it or you leave it, kind of thing, rather than if you don't do this, and this is what's going to happen.
Sure, yeah, a great resource.
Yeah, it's nice. Probably one of the best things.
And I think, she doesn't come to me for a whole lot of advice on any of this. One thing was just about the hospital tour. Like, this is what we've learned.
Uh-huh.
I've had all these conversations, and then we go, and this is what we experience. And I'm like, hang on. Your coordinator's actually going to take care of this for you. You don't have to do anything.
You don't have to do a thing.
You're working too hard. But I was like, let me just calm your mind, and let me just tell you a few things, and then you can share those with your intended mom. And then that way you can feel a little bit more comfortable. Because I knew right then she was like, oh, my gosh, this is not what they told us. This is crazy. I can't do this. And I'm like, hang on. Your coordinator will get it all under control. Just you're way ahead of schedule. You're not supposed to be doing that yet. So being able to kind of guide her in some of those things that, like, hang on.
Sure.
We'll get there.
Sure.
But she really hasn't had a lot of questions either. There are some of those awkward things like, hey, should this be happening or whatever?
Sure.
But really, she's done a tremendous job in this journey.
Oh, I have no doubt.
It's been easy, to say the least.
Oh, well, I know you keep saying boring, so it's fantastic. Yeah. Did you ever have a concern about when she first said that she was going to do this? Well, she already did it. You were like, oh, well, I can't even talk to you about this. You've already just gone and applied. Right. Were you ever concerned about, oh gosh, I know these things as a previous surrogate, I know these things as a coordinator, and this is my daughter. Were you ever concerned about those hats blending?
No, not really. And, even in the application phase that she's going through the whole process, I didn't get involved. Yeah. I was like, look, when you're handed some profiles, if you'd like me to review those, let me know. And I think she told me the names, and I looked at them, and I was like, okay, yeah, they're nice, and they're nice, and they're not. They all look pretty easy. Yeah. But I didn't sway her one way or the other. And then, it was just like, whatever you want to do, whatever you're comfortable with. Just making sure that she had the full decision on this. Yeah. Didn't want to persuade her one way or another, and definitely didn't want to make her feel like she had to do what I did. Sure. Sure. So, no concerns. I mean, she's kind of taken this journey and done most of it by herself. So
yeah. Well, you both are so independent, so
yeah. Very. Pros and cons there, but
I love it. Okay, so final question, which poor Angela, she sees me all the time in my meetings. Anybody who knows me, they know that I always have my cup of coffee, and I'm shaking things up today, and I'm actually drinking water. But what filled your cup this morning? It can be silly, figuratively, literally. What filled your cup this morning?
Honestly, just being able to get out of the state of Ohio.
I was like, I cannot wait to get back to Texas.
She's a Texas girl through and through.
We landed, and my husband and I stepped out of the car, and he goes, nothing like some Texas weather to bring us home. Like, it's so different. He said, well, at least it's not hot and muggy. He said, yeah, we will definitely not be coming here in August. I was like, good thing we can't, right?
There you go.
Yeah, that had to be it. I was ready to get back home. Ready to come home for a little bit. Yeah. Even though it's a short while, at least I get some Texas time.
Absolutely. My brother-in-law, he went to school in Louisiana, and he said that every time he crossed the border, he just breathed a nice big sigh and then went straight to Whataburger.
Yeah, we get that every time we come back between Oklahoma and Texas.
There you go. Yeah.
What do you guys want for dinner? Whataburger? Yeah.
Or Brahms. Brahms is another thing we don't have.
That's awesome. What about you, Angela?
Just knowing that my children were coming and my grandchildren were coming, and being able to take the time off and actually spend quality time with the kids. So with Tristan and her husband and the boys here, and then tomorrow our son and his girlfriend will be here. So just having
so
that
fun.
quality time and
Full
really
house.
getting to connect and just play, just
Yeah.
be grandparents and parents, you know.
Oh, we love that. We love that.
yeah.
No, that's so fantastic. Well, again, I really appreciate you guys taking the time out of playing to come and chat with me and share your story. And so thank you.
You're
welcome.
Thanks
And
for
good
having
luck.
us. I appreciate it.
When's your due date? Well, I know C-section.
Yeah. So actually, we'll schedule my C-section in just about a week, which
Okay.
is nice for my intended parents. Yes. But due date is August 15th.
Okay.
So.
Okay. I was a C-section mama too, so I know.
Yeah.
It's nice to be like, okay, and we can, do
Yeah.
this day. It was so funny. I was talking for my first journey, we were scheduled, and then I got something in the mail, and I called my IM and I was like, so I just got an email, and the day that we were supposed to do the C-section is my daughter's kindergarten graduation. Can we scoot it one day? And she was like, oh yeah, that's totally fine. And she and I were both just like, this is crazy that we're picking the birthday.
Yeah, no kidding. Ours is, but thankfully we don't have any birthdays in August.
There
it's
you
just
go.
going to be a matter of when school starts.
Yes. No, that's
But,
perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah, so hopefully, I've never made it past 38 weeks. So hopefully
Okay.
that's the case. And it'll be a late July baby.
There you go.
That would be nice.
Oh, that'd be fun. That'd be
Get
fun.
out of the the hottest of the summertime.
Oh my gosh. Yes, for sure. For sure. Well, good luck sending all the good easy labor vibes or easy
Thanks.
delivery vibes, I should say. And thanks again. And I'll see you, Angela, on Monday.
You have just finished listening to an episode of Me, You, and Who. To find out more about egg donor and surrogate solutions, go to www.createahappyfamily.com.